So recently, you might have seen there's been a news article floating around that is consistently being posted with the most egregiously clickbait title I have ever seen. The implication in the headline is radically different than the reality, to the point where I felt almost compelled to make a science news segment explaining what's actually going on. So here we are. Okay, so the news headline that's been freaking everyone out goes something like this. Japan approves human-animal hybrids. Or human-animal hybrid embryos greenlit by Japanese government. Basically, the headline is suggesting that Japan is diving headfirst into the ethically murky waters of 21st century gene editing, going all the way by creating freakish human-animal hybrids like Mothman, or Man-Bear-Pig, or some other fictional monster, presumably created by spooky genetic engineering. The problem that I have with this is that this is not what's happening at all. The true reality of the situation is a lot less graphic and a lot less reminiscent of a sci-fi horror film. No, in reality, what's happening is that a Japanese research group, led by Dr. Hiramitsu Nakachi, got permission to develop rat embryos that will have human stem cells implanted in their developing pancreas. They want to disable some of the rat's genes, disabling its ability to grow a certain organ, in this case a pancreas, so that they can instead implant these induced pluripotent stem cells from a human into the void. The goal is to get these human stem cells to create the organ inside the rat's body. And in this early case, they're starting with the pancreas. The next stage in this research project will be to study how these organs made of human cells will perform in the rat's body. They'll study if the organ can be transplanted, and if it will be safer, more efficient, and more effective than using animal organs for transplants. Dr. Nakachi and his team did similar research in 2017 with mouse stem cells, and found that mouse stem cells implanted into a rat would grow a mouse organ, and that organ could be transplanted into a mouse where it would work more or less flawlessly. In this case, they made a mouse pancreas inside the body of a rat, and then transplanted the mouse pancreas into the body of a mouse that had been genetically modified to have diabetes. This rat-grown mouse pancreas. How's that for your death metal band name? Okay, so this rat-grown mouse pancreas, now in the body of an actual mouse, was able to control the mouse's blood glucose level and effectively cured the mouse of its diabetes. In 2018, they announced their efforts to do this with human stem cells in sheep embryos, but the experiment failed. The human stem cells failed to proliferate in the sheep embryos, and they didn't form organs. Dr. Nakachi suspects that the genetic distance between humans and sheep was simply too great to overcome. From a more general perspective, this research is really promising, because if we can somehow grow human organs like hearts, lungs, livers, kidneys, pancreases, intestines, and everything else inside of a donor animal like a pig, we can use these modified organisms as biological engines for generating human transplant tissues. We won't need waiting lists with human donors, as we can grow the human organs that we need in pigs, or theoretically in some other suitable mammal, on demand. This would be a groundbreaking revolution in transplant medicine, and it would be a huge benefit to the human species. The frosting on top of this delicious cake is the fact that if you use the donor's stem cells to grow these organs, then the organs could be custom made. They could be patient specific. So the risk of infection or organ transplant failure or rejection would be greatly minimized, if not completely eliminated. Tetsuya Ishii is a science policy researcher at Hokkaido University in Sapporo. He said, quote, "It is good to proceed with caution. It will make it possible to have a dialogue with the public, which is feeling anxious and has concerns," unquote. Unfortunately, Mr. Ishii is right. The public is anxious and concerned about this science, because they hear about stuff like the Chinese researcher making GMO babies, and they see crazy headlines written by click-addicted journalists who want to blow the science way out of shape to attract attention. This is why we need real science journalism in this country, so people don't get blatantly misdirected by fear-mongering nonsense, which then has the negative side effect of holding back medical development.